Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson with your forecast first.
You really need your shorts and short sleeves to be comfortable walking around outside tonight. It's nice and steamy out there. Temperature readings in the mid-70s, and that's helped to kick off a few decent showers and thunderstorms out there. As we take a look at all the current temperature readings, you'll see 72 currently in Kenansville, 73 in Jacksonville. Holly Shelter reporting site at Pender County checking in at 75. There goes a radar review of the bigger thunderstorms affecting mainly our northern counties. Starting to see a lull in the activity now. Will we see more later tonight? And what about the weekend? WWAY News Channel 3 at 11 starts right now.
Live, local, interactive, and in high definition. This is WWAY News Channel 3 at 11.
I said, Taylor, what are you doing? And she said, Gaga, I am not going to let somebody break in our house.
Now at 11, an 18-year-old girl chases suspected robbers away with a baseball bat. Thanks for joining us tonight for your news at 11. I'm Chris Phillips.
And I'm Khaki Catlett. More on that story in just a moment, but first we have some breaking news to report.
Jerry Sandusky is guilty on 45 of 48 counts related to his sexual abuse of young boys. The verdict was announced just after 10 tonight. Sandusky was originally charged with 48 counts of sexual abuse against 10 boys he allegedly groomed through a charity he operated. He could be sentenced to life in prison. Tune in to Nightline at 11:30 following our broadcast for all the details.
A teen chases down suspected thieves with a bat after they tried to break into her house. With her help, police arrested the two suspects who are now in jail after admitting to mugging a woman downtown late last night. WWAY's Marissa Jasek is here with more in the lead at 11.
Khaki, having someone break into your house is most people's worst nightmare. Last night, Taylor Alexander showed no fear. In fact, she fought back with a Louisville slugger. After 17-year-old Sean McMahon and 18-year-old Marquise Jones admittedly stole a woman's purse and ran off, that's when 18-year-old Taylor Alexander says they tried to break into her house on Ann Street through the back gate.
Grabbed my bat, ran upstairs, and in a bad sense started screaming curse words and swatting and just went at it.
Her grandmother, Linnell Clontz, walked outside when she heard the police sirens.
And the cops are coming up to me and saying, your granddaughter is fearless. She chased them with a baseball bat, and she helped us delay them from running away.
Alexander says she wasn't always that fearless. 6 months ago, she was held up at gunpoint and froze. From that point on, she vowed to protect herself.
And I promised myself if anything should ever happen again where it involves my life or somebody else's, I'm going to do everything I can to stop it.
She admits the situation could have turned out much worse, but says her mind went blank.
I'm crazy now, I guess, you know. It was my first initial reaction. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to go get these guys.
That took great courage, in my opinion. I mean, I am so proud of her. It does not, it's just not believable.
Both suspects are in New Hanover County Jail under a $100,000 bond. Khaki?
Thanks, Marissa. For tonight's online poll question, we wanted to know, after two teens admit stealing a woman's purse at 3rd and Orange Thursday night, does that change your perception of downtown? Well, 4% of you said no, that was an isolated incident. That's one of the safest corners in the historic district. 68% of you said nope, same old downtown violence. I'm not going down there. 25% of you said yes. It seems downtown has gotten more dangerous lately. And 3% of you didn't know or care. Thanks for logging on and voting.
In Wilmington, two young men charged in connection with the murder of a Chinese food delivery man were in court today. We learned that the 5 young men planned the robbery before ordering food from China King, this according to Star News. The paper reports the boys then took the food back to a group of friends and ate it. Now, Wilmington police say another teen, 16-year-old Nathaniel Lawrence, has been arrested in relation to the murder as well. We've also learned that Jimmy John's on Market Street is no longer delivering after 7 p.m. in the wake of this crime.
New Hanover County Sheriff's deputies made arrest with the help of an off-duty sergeant's vigilance. Now, the sergeant noticed that a pickup truck behind Tri-County Properties on North College Road Wednesday morning and then notified a supervisor. Two deputies arrived and arrested Charles Dozier and Larry McMahon for breaking and entering after finding evidence of the theft of a fireplace insert.
New details in the case of a man biting a dog. Not just any dog, but Max, an officer with the Wilmington Police Department. Max was used to catch a criminal who ran from police over the weekend. The suspect bit Max's ear, and the injury required more than 15 stitches. Well, it's okay. Max is fine, recovering at home. He will be able to return to work soon.
Happening tomorrow, the candidates for governor face off in a debate in the Port City. The North Carolina Bar Association is hosting its annual conference this weekend at the Hilton Riverside. Tomorrow, it includes a debate between Republican Pat McCrory and Democrat Walter Dalton. The event is not open to the public, but will be there. You can check out our coverage online and on the air.
On the roads, if you're traveling across the river Sunday or Monday night, avoid the Isabel Holmes Bridge. The Department of Transportation will close the bridge from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Sunday night into Monday, then again Monday night into Tuesday. The closings are just for routine maintenance.
First on 3, a big musical name is coming to the Pleasure Island Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival. Town leaders announced founding member of the Allman Brothers, Greg Allman, will actually perform at this year's event on October 13th. The rock and blues singer was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995. Tickets go on sale tonight at 7 p.m. When on sale, that is.
I don't know if huge would describe it or not. It's probably the biggest headliner that we've ever had down here. And we're very fortunate to have quality entertainment like Greg Allman coming. That's basically how our festival, keeps its momentum. Is everyone is so excited to hear who we're going to pull out of the hat as the headliner. So people enjoy it.
I swear, I was going to say.
And again, Allman plays on October 13th.
An update to a story earlier this week. You can help a local nonprofit step up to help sick children and their families. Dare to Care for Children is auctioning guitars signed by music legends James Brown and Whitney Houston, with proceeds helping those in need. And you can bid right now. Check out our website, WWAYTV3.com, for all the details.
A Brunswick County business is closing its doors after nearly 70 years in business. Because of the economy and national retailers, the building supply store is going out of business. WWAY's Asha DeVay has the story.
J.M. Parker & Sons first opened its doors here on the corner of 17 and 211 in Supply back in 1944.
I missed all the cartoons on TV. My dad brought me here early in the morning. I worked on every Saturdays when I was out of school. I mean, I've done it all. Sweep the floor, clean the johns out.
Al Parker's grandfather opened the store, and it's been passed down through generations. Now, 68 years later, he's closing the doors.
People have a misconception of owning your own business. It's not all roses.
J.M. Parker & Sons started as a general store, selling feed and seed and everything else. But the store evolved into more of a building supply company, and now they primarily sell lumber. The store's business really boomed in the mid-50s after Hurricane Hazel hit and devastated the area. Many customers have been buying there for decades.
It's just like they're part of the family and all that. It was easy to get to, easy to work with, and just good people.
Well, it's convenient. I live right up the street here, and the people.
They take care of all of our needs.
It's working with the people that makes it good. And we've been fortunate to have some really good customers, and I really hate to lose them.
In Supply, Asha DeVay, WWAY, News Channel 3.
The store will close for good sometime in October. The Parkers are selling the land to a developer who plans to build an Ace Hardware and a grocery store in its place. The Parkers will still manage the new store, so they're sticking around. A mini Grand Central in the Tar Heel State, well, it's a real possibility. We'll tell you when and where.
And two Wilmington amateur boxers won national titles last week. You'll never guess how many bouts one had to fight to win. A lot less than you might think.
When you watch News Channel 3 at 11, you get way more local news and way more stories that interest you. Why? Because here at WWAY News Channel 3, we're live, local, and interactive. You're watching WWAY News Channel 3 at 11. Voted Best Newscast in the Carolinas with Chris, Kathy, John with sports, and Jerry with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Temperatures nice and warm outside tonight. We're registering in the mid-70s here in Wilmington. Dew points in the upper 60s now. Winds have gone calm. Our relative humidity is 76%, so the overall air mass starting to take on more of a steamy summertime feel to it. Earlier today, we hit a daytime high of 90. That's 2 degrees above the seasonal average of 88. No rainfall here in Wilmington, but we have been tracking one narrow band of showers and thunderstorms that moved across our northern tier of counties earlier in the evening, but not really cooling down our official reporting sites too much. So Kenansville still holding at 72, Fayetteville at 73, White Lake at 75, and obviously much warmer down south. Southport checking in near 80, and along the Grand Strand, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at 77. Here's a review of the radar mosaic, and you can see this nice little cluster of thunderstorms work its way through parts of Sampson County, extreme northern Duplin, and then from there in the last couple of frames really starting to weaken now with the loss of daytime heating. A pretty typical pattern this time of year. You see those thunderstorms fire up in the heat of the day, but once the sun goes down, they start to lose that extra little bit of punch they need to keep going. Still some decent thunder showers north of our area tonight, even a few hail producers, but the line that was so heavy from Raleigh over toward Greensboro and extending on out west toward Charlotte is really starting to fall apart on the western extent now. So other than an isolated shower, it should be a relatively quiet night across the News Channel 3 viewing area. Now, Pinpoint Futurecast is showing a cold front slowly working its way from west to east, and even though we get a little bit of a break now later tonight, by tomorrow afternoon additional thunderstorms may fire up, and then they'll weaken and fall apart as we head into late Saturday night and early on Sunday morning. So it does look like we'll have a little better coverage perhaps of spotty showers and thunderstorms this weekend. And then next week, everything really depends on exactly what happens with this. And if you look at the last couple of model runs here with Pinpoint Futurecast 3.0, you can see a very well-defined low pressure system and what really looks like it could become a tropical system here. This is going to have to be monitored very carefully over the next couple of days to see exactly what happens with it, where it winds up going. At this point, it looks like most of the storm action will stay well south of us as we head into the weekend. Next week, we may see some leftover rain from whatever is left of this system. So again, next week's forecast still very much up in the air, and we'll be fine-tuning as we go along. At the moment, the system is not overly impressive, just a big blob of thunderstorms there, but as it continues to move over warm water, and incidentally, usually the cutoff line for water temperatures for tropical development is around 80 degrees. So we've got water temperatures that are plenty warm for tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico. Another reason why we'll be monitoring that system carefully. Tonight, partly cloudy, just a slight chance of a dying thunder shower. Otherwise, most of the night will be quiet, and we'll probably start things off on a quiet note as we head into Saturday. Lots of sunshine and then some heat and humidity thrown in there, and add the final icing on the cake in the form of a cold front that will be moving in. All that's going to equate to a much better chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms and better coverage than what we've seen over the past couple of days. Coastal waters forecast low 80s at the beaches. Seas average 2 to 3 feet with a moderate rip current risk. And your Storm Track 3 7-day extended forecast, 30% chance of rain and storms Sunday, somewhat of a quiet day on Monday, and then another cold front heads our way Tuesday, turning cooler behind that front. Will be in the mid-80s Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, that 7-day forecast may need to be adjusted if we get any leftover moisture from that system in the Gulf of Mexico. So it won't bother us this weekend. If you're traveling to the Gulf Coast, keep an eye on it.
Okay. Yeah. And for this weekend, not a complete washout, as you've said before.
No, not at all. We'll get some sunshine in there, heat and humidity, but just a little better chance of afternoon storm.
The usual stuff. And still a weekend.
Yes, exactly.
So
We're fond. Good. Thanks a lot, Jerry. A new attack ad on Walter Dalton. The candidate for governor seems to be saying some questionable things. Did he really say them? We will explain.
And one car just couldn't wait. We'll show you the shocking video.
There's a new political ad out on the internet attacking Lieutenant Governor Walter Dalton, the Democratic nominee for governor.
Well, if you've seen it and it left you wondering why he would say anything, it shows him saying it's because he didn't. John Camp has the story.
North Carolina. You know and I know it's not going to be a facts-based campaign.
The minute-long ad strings together video clips which at first might leave you scratching your head.
just need a passport so I can travel around. We can do that, but I just don't want people to know, which is why I don't release a public schedule or travel records.
The video is real enough, but the audio is dubbed in, a Walter Dalton sound-alike, reading a script written by Republicans. The ad does raise real issues, like Dalton's support for a temporary sales tax hike.
We need more taxes.
But has many on the left, including Chris Fitzsimon, shaking their heads.
I mean, this is sort of taking the bad political ad to the ridiculous extreme.
Fitzsimon says the ad hits below the belt, putting words in Dalton's mouth literally, and could be completely misleading to voters.
Because at some point, this will be seen by people online who don't know the lieutenant governor and conceivably could perceive that these are his words.
It was a lighthearted way to draw attention to serious issues and encourage debate.
Rob Lockwood helped put the spot together at Republican headquarters in Raleigh. He says it's just satire, but with a serious bent. Is this in any way beyond the pale?
John, I think it's funny, and those guys on the left, whether it's Dalton's campaign or others, have tissue paper thin skin if they think that this is below the belt or any of those.
A scary accident caught on camera. The Charlotte area transit system released surveillance video earlier this week showing a car crashing into a light rail train at a crossing in South Charlotte on Sunday. Transit officials say the female driver was trying to beat the stop arms when it smashed into her vehicle.
Millions of dollars are coming into Raleigh to give the rail system a major upgrade. It's all thanks to a federal grant. Steve Dorsey has more on the site that some are calling a mini Grand Central Station.
Here today.
Local and federal leaders envision a bright future for this old warehouse. Right now, it's covered in graffiti with broken windows. It's long been abandoned after the Dillon Supply Company moved out more than 2 decades ago. But it's now at the center of a $60 million project to turn it into Raleigh's Union Station.
Along the way, we have great stations now in Durham, in Cary, in Greensboro, but not in Raleigh. And so this is a very innovative way of historic reuse here with this down in this district and realigning the tracks and making this really work as a transportation hub.
City officials say the project will bring in hundreds of millions of dollars into Raleigh. It's expected to create more than 1,000 short-term jobs.
Everyone knows that a strong infrastructure is key to a city's economic future, and this is a vital part of what is going to help lead Raleigh into this next century.
The transit center will also be a keystone in plans for high-speed rail service between Charlotte, Raleigh, and Washington, D.C.
There you have it. Well, you know what time it is.
It's tournament time.
That's right. And the Dixie Girls Softball Tournament is more than halfway over. John has a recap coming up in sports.
We can't wait to see you Monday morning. I'm Ashley Jacobs.
And I'm Tim Buckley. Lane closures to tell you about bridge inspections could slow down your trip to the beach.
And a new activity at Fort Fisher Aquarium. You can actually touch a real shark. We have all the details in the live interview.
That's right, and they could be bringing an animal to our studio. We don't know what it is, so you have to tune in to find out.
Join us Monday morning, 6 a.m. for all your local news and weather.
The Wilmington Hammerheads pro soccer squad opened a 2-game road trip earlier tonight against Pittsburgh. The Hammerheads beat the Pittsburgh Riverhounds earlier this season at home back in April, but that was 2 months ago. As it turns out, the Hammerheads lost against Pittsburgh tonight on the road. Midfielder Manny Guzman scored the first goal of the evening for Wilmington early in the second half, but the Riverhounds came back to beat Wilmington 2-1. Meanwhile, the Wilmington Sharks' 2-game winning streak is now over. The Sharks lost to the Florence Red Wolves tonight. The Sharks' next game will be Tuesday at 7 o'clock against Team USA. That's the collegiate national team of our country. The District 9 Dixie Girls Softball Tournament has reached the halfway point. It's a 4-day tournament. It's double elimination. There are 5 age divisions, and all the action is taking place at the Northwest Park near Leland. Girls from New Hanover County, Columbus County, and Brunswick County compete against each other in this event in order to determine a winner in each age bracket. This is action from the Lockwood Folly Wilmington game. These are 9 and 10-year-olds. And in fact, some of them are rather speedy. on the base pass. Now, we also have action from the North Brunswick versus East Columbus game involving 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. This, too, was a competitive game tonight as well. The tournament will run through Sunday with winners of each bracket advancing to the state Dixie softball tournament. And maybe we'll be out there on Sunday to show more action to you. 2 amateur Wilmington boxers participated in the title Boxing National Championship last week in Mississippi, and both returned to the port city with national titles. The route to the title started out the same for both, but then it took a different avenue to get to the top. Ishmael Johnson is a rising junior at Hoggard High School. He's only been boxing for a year, but he's already a national title champion. What is it about boxing that you like?
I don't want to say punching people, but
punching people?
Yeah, it helps with everything. Like, you get in shape, discipline.
I saw you fight last month in Wilmington. I knew you were good, but I didn't know you were good enough to go out of town last week and win a national championship.
Yeah, that surprised me too. That surprised all of us.
But the biggest surprise is the number of bouts Johnson had in order to win his national title. How'd you do it?
Well, it was basically by forfeit.
You didn't fight anybody?
No, I got it without throwing one punch.
And Johnson is serious about that. Due to 2 walkovers and a forfeit, Ishmael Johnson emerged the champ. He even admits the title was handed to him.
Ishmael, if he'd had fights, he would have won all 3 of them, because he trained just as hard as Barry did.
Barry Pierce is a rising junior at Wilmington Early College. He also took his boxing talent to Olive Branch, Mississippi. But Pierce actually fought 3 times, and he won all 3 to emerge the title national champ in his weight class.
I went up there, first fight, I breezed through him. It wasn't no challenge. Second fight, same thing. The third fight, I had to fight really hard.
And in the finals, you had to fight hard?
Yes, sir.
Came out with a national title?
Yes, sir.
What's that feel like?
It felt good. And the crowd was cheering on my side and everything. Barry can punch. He has a lot of confidence, and he's talented. He's a talented boxer.
So congratulations to Barry and to Ishmael. Both Wilmington boxers end up with the same result, but in a slightly different fashion. He likes to smile. Johnson and Pierce both train at the All Rules MMA Boxing Center on College Road in Wilmington. Meanwhile, former New Hanover High School swimming standout Carrie Blaylock is just 3 days away from swimming in the U.S. Olympic trials. Blaylock will compete in 4 different events in Omaha, Nebraska. We caught up with Carrie earlier today in Chapel Hill.
Going into trials, I'm seated pretty well in a couple of events. I'm 20th in the 200 IM, so hopefully, not really wishing any bad luck on anybody ahead of me, but I'm hoping that, I can really step it up and have a good preliminary swim and make it back to semifinals in the top 16. And if that happens, then I will be a very happy girl.
We'll have a feature report on Carrie Blaylock on our sports segment on Sunday, 6 p.m. newscast. Blaylock is a rising junior at UNC Chapel Hill. Kaki and Chris. She's also a resident of Wilmington, and we wish the best to her at the Olympic trials.
Making us proud here in the Cape Fear. That's awesome.
A lot of great athletes here. Thanks, John. After the break, Jerry takes another look at your weekend weather forecast.
And it was a beautiful night downtown for a fireworks show.
Storm Track 3 7-day extended forecast, 40% chance for showers and storms tomorrow, and looks like most of those will occur during the afternoon, so you'll be able to sneak in some of your outdoor activities. 30% chance on Sunday. One reason for the increased chance of rain this weekend is an old frontal boundary slipping into the region. It'll more or less fizzle out on top of us Sunday, so we won't really get any good cooling effects. Cold front number 2 heads our way for Tuesday. Behind that frontal system, we will see a marked decrease in temperatures. By the time we hit Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be in the mid-80s, and of course a lot will hinge on what happens with that potential system in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll monitor that.
We'll watch that.
Okay, we'll stay with you. Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, great.
Well, with the great weather today, a lot of people actually were downtown tonight.
It was a Fourth Friday Gallery Night, a free monthly event where several downtown galleries, studios, and art spaces are open to the public. There was a free concert by the Frontiers, a Journey cover band, and oh yeah, the fireworks too. Now coming up, Nightline plans full coverage of the Jerry Sandusky trial and verdict right after our broadcast. Here are the fireworks.